Welcome to Understanding NWEA Map Growth Score Reports. And as our slide says, this is just a brief guide to help parents make sense of your students' score reports. I'm Eric Richard, high school principal at SCHS, and on behalf of Peter Ness over in the elementary school, Steve Bittner in junior high, and all of our fantastic faculty, I'm excited to be sharing this with you because we all have been very excited about all the helpful information that map growth testing is providing to us as we work to provide the best education we possibly can for each of our students. A little background information as we begin. NWEA stands for the Northwest Education Association, and MAP is an acronym for Measure of Academic Progress. MAP is significantly different from other standardized tests in that the assessment is adaptive to each student. The test begins with mid-level question appropriate to the student's grade level, and then adjusts the following questions to be easier or more difficult based on the student's responses. The adaptive nature of the test means that all students will be challenged at a level appropriate for them, and means that we get data for each student that is specific to their individual skills and abilities, as well as the more standard look at how the student compares to others within his or her grade and the nation as a whole. We do get a great deal of information from MAP. Comparative scores, information on students' readiness to learn, and a measure of the student's academic progress over time. So let's take a look together at the report you will be receiving. This is a sample student progress report. We'll begin with an overview of the report as a whole, and then take a closer look at the specific sections. You'll see your student's name right here at the top, and the most recent test date right here, in this case, fall 2018. The test is comprised of three sections: mathematics, reading, and language usage. Score results are color-coded: blue for your student, orange for Santiam Christian averages, and yellow for national averages. Now we get score reports two ways: as RIT scores in the colored columns and in the score table, and as percentile ranges in the score table. It might be worth noting that RIT just stands for Roush unit and simply describes the type of continuous scoring scale that measures progress from elementary grades all the way through high school. So let's take a closer look now, beginning with math. Here we have just the math section. Again, your student's score is in blue. So our sample student obtained a RIT score of 245 last spring. The SC average score for this grade level on this assessment is in orange and was also a 245 last spring. The national average last spring was 233, and so both our sample student and the SC average are above the national average. Moving to fall, our student scored a 252. You can see comparatively here how Santiam Christian and the national group did on average. Now the blue hashed column is NWEA's projection for our sample students' performance in the spring of 2019, and of course we won't know about that for sure until the student takes the test. Moving over to the score table, we see a RIT range right here, which accounts for potential statistical differences in test scoring and shows that if our student repeated the test many times, she could be expected to score within a range of 249 to 255. Now, because we've only used the assessment twice to date, we don't have enough data to fill in these two columns yet. All the way over here to the right, we can see the percentile range score, and we can see that our sample student scored at the 87th percentile band compared to all students nationwide. This means that our students scored as well as or better than 87% of all students in the national norms. Finally, down here to the left, we have the four subsections of the mathematics assessment, and we can see that relative to the national norms, our sample student is in the high average band when it comes to operations and algebraic thinking, in the high band for geometry, and the same for real and complex number systems and statistics and probability. Remember, these are all compared to national norms for the student's grade level. So let's do the same analysis for the other two sections of the test. Here's the reading section. Our student, SC average for this grade level, national average. Our student for fall, SC for fall, national for fall, projection for spring 2019. The score table, our students' RIT scores and RIT ranges, and our students' percentile ranks and percentile ranges. Subsections of the test and performance on each are again down here in the lower left. And on the reading section of the test, you also get a Lexile range or Lexile score, which measures both the relative difficulty of written text, so it's a measure of the reading level of a text, and a student's reading ability, so that students' Lexile scores can be matched with Lexile scores for books and other texts as a tool for matching reading ability with appropriate reading difficulty. Finally, let's take a look at the third section of the test. Here again we find the same pattern. Student, SC student, your student, SC average for grade level, national average for grade level. This was in this last spring. Fall, your student, SC average, national average. Spring of this year, a projection. RIT scores in a score table showing the range, and percentile scores in the score table, and again showing the range. Test subsections down here on the left. There are 3 subsections in the language usage test, and our students' relative performance compared to other students in his or her grade level. Worth spending just a little bit more time on the RIT score. RIT is a continuous scale from kindergarten through 12th grade, and just like measuring your child's physical growth with a measuring scale on the wall, you only need one scale for all the child's growth, and you can use the same scale at every stage of growth. So, just like 3 foot 10 inches would be relatively tall for a kindergartner, but relatively short for a 9th grader, a RIT score of 190 in mathematics would be right on target for a 3rd grader, but would be short or low for a 9th grader because the average height, or RIT, for 9th graders in math is about 230. So again, RIT then is just a continuous scale for measuring academic growth. Well, often when parents see score reports, questions come up, and those questions include things, is my child working at grade level? And so the percentile range helps us answer that, because normal or average for a grade level would be right about the 50th percentile range, or maybe the 45th to the 55th. And so if your student has scored, let's say, above the 55th or 60th percentile range, that would indicate that to some degree they're working above grade level. And if your child scores, let's say, in the 35th to 45th percentile range, that would indicate that to some degree they might be working a little bit below grade level. Is my student making progress? Are they growing academically? And again, the RIT scores in the colored columns can help us with that, because we can see progress from last spring to this fall, and as the columns get taller, as the height of our student increases, it means they are growing. And so this student grew from the spring to the fall. Now, it might be worth mentioning, this is a little bit unusual. We often actually anticipate that we'll see a little bit of a decline between spring and fall, simply because over the summer students are not using their academic skills quite to the same degree. And so if you should see a little bit of a decline in your student scores between the spring testing and the fall testing, that's actually more normal than what we're looking at here. But we are happy to celebrate growth wherever we see it, and this student did in fact grow in their mathematics skills and knowledge set over the summer, so that's pretty exciting. How does my student compare to others across our school and across the country? So again, your student SC gives you the relative height or comparison there. National sample gives you, again, the same thing, how we do as a school compared to the national and how your student does compared to the national. And we can see that same kind of thing again up here in the percentile range as well. Again, a student scoring somewhere between the, say, 45th and 55th percentile rank would be right about on average for the country as a whole, whereas a student scoring above or below those levels would be either then correspondingly above or a little bit below the national average. so much more you can learn if you want to pursue more. NWEA puts out a parent's toolkit. You can see the link here for that. Part of that toolkit is a parent guide to the test and to understanding scores, and you can see a link there, and both of these links are in the email that we sent to you. On the teacher and administrative side of things, we have a great deal of additional information we can pull from your child's score reports as well, such as the things listed here. So if you'd like more information, please call us to schedule a conference. As principals, we're happy to meet with you, or if you have section-specific questions such as language usage or math, you'd be welcome to make an appointment with your students' math or English teachers as well. So thanks for taking time to watch this today. Hopefully this is enough to get you started understanding your students' MAP growth scores, and again, give us a call if you'd like to learn more about your students' MAP results. Thanks.